Sad songs feels like comfort, like it understands your pain, like someone finally gets what you're going through. The lyrics feel like they were written just for you, like they were pulled straight from your story. But here's what nobody tells you. That comfort, it can be dangerous, because it keeps you exactly where you are. It feels soothing in the moment, but it slowly locks you in the same emotional cage. Every time you play that song, you're sending a silent message to your brain. This sadness is my identity. As Mark Manson said, what you choose to focus on becomes your reality. Sad music isn't helping you move on. It's helping you marinate in misery. Replaying that sad song is like picking at a wound you won't let heal. You think you're feeling, but really, you're bleeding. And this isn't new. Fyodor Dostoevsky once said, "Man only likes to count his troubles. He doesn't calculate his happiness." Think about that. We obsess over our pain, replaying the heartbreak, the betrayal, the loss, until it becomes the loudest thing in the room. Meanwhile, our moments of joy, we barely acknowledge them. Dostoevsky wasn't just criticizing a mindset. He was exposing a habit, a dangerous loop where we keep choosing sorrow because it feels familiar, even when it's slowly distorting our perception of life. Now, I'm not saying sad music is all bad. For some people, it's cathartic, like a good cry that helps you process emotions. Sometimes, you need that release. You need a moment to sit with the pain, to let the tears fall, to breathe through what hurts. And that's okay. But the problem is, most people don't stop there. They don't just visit the sadness. They set up camp in it. They loop the same track for weeks, months, sometimes years. Not because it's healing them, but because they've made that sadness part of who they are. It becomes their identity, their background music, their story. And once your pain becomes your story, you stop growing, you stop rising, you stop moving forward. I remember one day, I was finally starting to feel okay after a really painful breakup. I had gone a few days without texting, watched some funny videos. I was actually breathing easier, felt lighter. And then, while scrolling through Instagram, a reel popped up with a sad song in the background. It hit me hard, because I had a memory tied to that song. She was the one who first shared it with me. I didn't even mean to play it, but within 60 seconds, I was right back in that heartbreak, drowning in it all over again. That's the power of sound. It doesn't just hit your ears, it hits your memory. It reactivates emotion that was just starting to fade. That's the danger of subconscious repetition. Ask yourself right now, when I feel sad, what's the first thing I do? Do I play music that lifts me up, or music that drags me deeper? Be honest, because awareness is the first break in the cycle. Let me tell you about something called the law of attraction. Even if you've never heard of it, you've lived it. It's simple. Whatever you focus on, you attract. Your thoughts shape your feelings. Your feelings shape your energy. And your energy shapes your life. So if you keep focusing on pain, you'll keep finding more of it. You've seen people like this. The ones who always complain that life is unfair. Who live like sadness is their destiny. Every post, every thought, every day, soaked in suffering. They say things like, "Nothing ever goes right for me." And guess what? Nothing ever does. Not because they're cursed, but because they're stuck in the same emotional loop. Sad music, sad quotes, sad reels. It's all programming the same identity. I'm broken. I'm a victim. But you're not broken. You're just feeding the wrong frequency. And the second you change that input, your story begins to change too. Here's the truth no one wants to say. Sad songs make you soft. And when you're soft, you're easier to manipulate. You seem desperate. In love, in life, in everything. And when you act desperate, people don't feel drawn to you. They pull away. Psychology tells us desperation is the opposite of attraction. You stop looking like a leader. You stop feeling like yourself. You start chasing, not attracting. But here's the twist. The moment you stop chasing, they start noticing. People often ignore you when you're always available. The person who is always available has no value. But the second they see you moving on, growing, glowing, rising, suddenly you're interesting again. Why? Because confidence is magnetic. Because when you focus on healing, you take your power back. People can't manipulate you, and suddenly you are attractive. As Aaron Hunter said, warriors should suffer their pain silently. You can feel pain, but don't worship it. Don't perform your heartbreak. Transform through it. That's how you shift from being ignored to being unforgettable. Close your eyes for a second. Now picture your greatest hero. Would they fall apart every time a song reminded them of someone? Would they break down over a playlist? No. They would listen. They would feel the pain. And then they'd rise. Because warriors don't wait for the storm to pass. They train in the rain. You don't need a sad soundtrack. You need a battle anthem. Right now, delete that old playlist. Not because the songs are bad, but because you are done staying stuck. Start a new one. Call it comeback mode. Fill it with music that makes you stand taller, walk faster, think clearer, feel alive. Every time sadness tries to sneak back in, train your brain to shift. Don't resist the feeling. Replace it. Redirect it. This isn't about ignoring pain. It's about not feeding it. And if you need proof that the shift works, just look at Demi Lovato. For years, she was caught in a cycle of addiction, trauma, and emotional lows. And her music reflected that. Sad ballads, emotional breakdowns, darkness on repeat. But after her near-fatal overdose in 2018, something changed. Not just in her recovery, but in her soundtrack. She made a conscious decision to change the energy she was feeding herself. She began writing songs like I Love Me and Confident, tracks about self-worth, strength, and survival. In interviews, she said it herself. Music became both the mirror and the medicine. She stopped looping pain. She started choosing power. And with that shift in her music, her mindset began to shift too. Not overnight, but it started with one decision. Change the sound. Change the story. You need clarity. Clarity that your sadness isn't a life sentence. It's a loop. And loops can be broken. The fastest way to break that loop: flip the switch. There's a powerful idea from Robin Sharma's book, The Leader Who Had No Title. It's called the switch theory. He says at any given moment, you have the power to shift your mindset. Just like flicking a light switch in a dark room. One flip, and everything looks different. One conscious choice, and your entire energy changes. And yes, sometimes it's that simple. As simple as switching the song. Instead of replaying heartbreak, play healing. Instead of echoing pain, echo power. Swap out the sad soundtrack for something that moves you forward. Because the music you choose isn't just entertainment, it's alignment. It programs your mood, your momentum, your mindset. And when you change your input, your identity starts to shift too. As Mel Robbins said, you are one decision away from a completely different life. Maybe this is that decision. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now. Flip the switch. Change the song. Change your life.